to my channel. Today I am actually testing out the new foundation from Tarte. This is the Face Tape foundation. This was just released today at my local Ulta, so I went there and picked it up. But I wanted to get this review up for you guys as soon as possible, and I just didn't want to dedicate an entire week to it. And typically when I test out a foundation for my Foundation Friday videos, I like to test it for at least 2 to 3 days. But this one, I just did not really want to give it that much attention. So we're going to go ahead and test it. I'm going to give you guys my opinion on it. But I do know that this is somewhat of a controversy because last year, as you guys know, Tarte released the Shade Tape foundation and it was kind of a joke. And this is what it was. This is a hydrating foundation, and then they had a more mattifying foundation. Now I had both, and the mattifying foundation I actually gave to a friend of mine, so I only have the hydrating left. And I didn't like either one of the foundations, and they were pretty much an afterthought for me. I liked the hydrating foundation okay, but I never really wore it after that video because I just didn't feel right about it. I felt icky about it. I'm a person that has a shade range all the time in all foundations, so I personally do not know how it feels to go to buy a foundation and not have my shade. Do I struggle sometimes finding my shade? Yeah, we all do. But there's always a shade for me because I'm a medium with a neutral or golden undertone. That is such a common shade within all foundations. So I personally do not know how it feels. Some people are saying that we should be forgiving Tarte for making that mistake. They're trying to do better, and we should forgive and, and congratulate them on, doing better. Some people with darker skin tones are okay, and they're glad that Tarte released, 50 shades with 5 undertones, and they're forgiving and they're glad. And others are like, no, it's too late. You really slapped me in the face. Now, let me just say this. I'm not going to give my opinion because I don't feel like my opinion matters, to be honest. I wasn't affected by it, so my opinion doesn't really matter. What I will say, the thing that I felt like was icing on that crappy cake that they did with this whole foundation release last year, when they released the statement saying that they would bring out deeper shades during the summer. Like, I was like, wait, what? What do you mean you're gonna bring out deeper shades during the summer? Because all of my friends who have deeper skin tone, they're dark all year round. So I don't understand that. Like, I didn't get that. That kind of blew me for a loop. Then all the controversy hit, and they were called on the carpet for bringing out such a horrible shade range. That was their response. Like, I just didn't like that, you guys. I just thought it was really, really horrible. And let me just say this as well. I personally have never felt like Tarte, as far as like their palettes and stuff, I've never looked at the Tarte's palettes and thought that they were inclusive and they had diversity within their palettes. The ones that I just got from my BoxyCharm last month, I could not believe how light those shades were, and I knew that those shades would never work on my friends who have a darker skin tone than I do. I've never looked at Tarte as an inclusive brand anyway, so especially when they added that on there, I was like, oh my gosh. What hurt me was that my friends with deeper skin tones were an afterthought, and I just didn't like that, you guys. So you are entitled to your opinion. If you're not ready to forgive Tarte, that is your opinion and you are entitled to it. And if you are wanting to forgive them and you're wanting to praise them for, fixing their mistakes, that is your opinion, and you are all entitled to your own opinion. I'm not going to get on here and tell you how to feel. That is on you. And I wouldn't recommend anyone ever tell you how to feel and how, you follow your gut and you feel the way you want to feel. So with all of that said, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to give you guys my opinion on this foundation and just see how the new formula is. So the details on this is it's inspired by Tarte's iconic Shape Tape Concealer. This long-wearing full coverage foundation mattifies, hydrates, and brightens your appearance. They've bottled up your skin smoothing filters, selfie settings, and Instagram feedback to create the foundation of your dreams. Plus, this baby comes in 50 shades with 5 different undertones. So it's supposed to be long-wearing full coverage with a natural matte finish. It's transfer-proof, waterproof, and sweat-proof to keep you flawless through work and play. Snow mushroom extract apple fruit extract and hyaluronic acid hydrates and brightens appearance, and you can also pair it with your Shape Tape concealer for a double perfection. I don't use the Tarte Shape Tape, it's too drying and for my under eyes. I'm almost 40 years old and I have dry normal skin anyway, and I just cannot wear like Shape Tape, it's way too drying. So just a brief description about my skin and what I look for when I am reviewing and what I like in foundations, what I don't. Because I'm almost 40, I do have hyperpigmentation, I have adult acne, I have wrinkles, and I don't really have an issue with enlarged pores, but I have everything else. So I do like a medium coverage kind of foundation, and I prefer more of a glowier, natural type foundation. I don't like a super matte foundation. This one is described as a natural matte. So, you know, I'm hoping that the natural matte will work for me. So this foundation retails for $39 and it should be available at most of your local Ultas. And I also recommend going into Ulta and trying to shade match if you can. I struggled finding the right shade with this foundation only because I think that they run a little bit light, because I ended up needing to buy medium tan with neutral undertone, and I typically never buy my foundations with medium tan. Typically, I buy my foundations with a medium with a neutral or a golden undertone, but for your convenience, I will leave a full list of all of the foundations that I wear and what shade I wear in the description box down below. I do feel like that it matches my skin pretty good, but it runs pretty light. I would recommend going into your local Ulta and try to shade match. And if you're somebody that doesn't like to put swatches on the side of your face inside Ulta, I recommend going to find a brand, whether it's the Born This Way, like if you have a shade that you know matches you, go and find that foundation, find your shade, swatch it on the back of your hand, and then go to the display and swatch all of these next to that, because there's so many shades that it's kind of hard to find that right one. I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes I love it when brands bring out 50 shades, but it also makes it just a tad bit harder to really find that right shade. And so I do recommend finding that right shade in store versus buying it online. That's what we're gonna be testing out today. I'm gonna wear it for one day, give you guys my opinion, and then we're gonna move on to testing out a new foundation this Friday. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video, and I'm gonna show you guys how I apply the foundation. I'll come back for a midday check-in and then come back later on this evening for my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, so I just went to Ulta and grabbed the foundation. Now I am going to put on my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. Right now it's about 12:15, so I wanted to get this foundation on as quickly as I possibly can, just because I didn't want, you know, I want to wear it for as long as I can. And typically I like to wear foundations for 12 hours or longer, but today I may or may not be able to wear it till midnight. We'll see, but I am going to try to wear it as long as I can. But you know, the Ulta here doesn't open on Sundays until 11 a.m. And so I got there right at like 11:10. For my brush, I'm going to use this from Tarte. And this is the Tarte spatula brush. And I also have the sponge that was actually released with the first foundation launch. I'm going to put 2 pumps of this foundation down into the tray. So I'm going to go ahead and apply it on this side of the face with my brush. That's light. Like, that's crazy. This is medium to tan, and that's lighter than a lot of the foundations that I have. So it's these shades run light, just by the way. If you're buying it online, just know that these shades run really light, because I was afraid that this medium tan was going to be too dark, because I never buy my foundations with medium tan, like ever. And maybe it does oxidize a little bit. So maybe it goes on kind of dark, kind of light, and then it goes darker. I want to go over this with a sponge just to kind of get rid of the brush marks, because it does kind of have a powdery finish, and I kind of want to get rid of the brush strokes and just kind of really melt this into the skin. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and go over this side with a sponge. Right away, I like the sponge side better, the sponge side only. You know, even though I went over this side with a sponge, I feel like I got a better application on this side. And I feel like using a sponge only really melted it into the skin better than applying it with a brush and then going over it with a sponge. So I kind of like that sponge side better, and typically I don't. I prefer applying my foundation with a brush and smoothing it out with a sponge. That is my preferred method. But with this foundation, I feel like it looks much more natural and really kind of melts into the skin just using the sponge only. And I will say right off the bat, this is a little bit heavier than I like. It's set down, and I will say it oxidizes. So just know that this does oxidize, and I do feel like this is a good shade. I don't feel like this is a perfect shade match, but I feel like it's a decent shade match for my skin. Okay, so let's go ahead and call the check-in time. So I applied it right around 12:30. So I hate applying foundation this late in the day, only because it's just, you know, I really like to wear this for as long as I can, because I know that so many of you out there, you know, whether you work really, really long shifts or you're, you know, a busy mom and you apply your foundation early and you don't get it off till like midnight. So I do like to wear it for as long as I can, but today, you know, my Ulta doesn't open till 11 on Sundays. So it is what it is. Okay, so this is what it's looking like up close, just so that you guys can see. Now let's turn the ring light off. Without that ring light, it looks much more yellow. So I'm gonna wear this for as long as I can today, and hopefully by like 12:30, we'll see how it wears, and I will come back for a midday check-in probably around 6 o'clock, let you guys know how I'm feeling about it and how it's wearing, and then I will come back later on this evening for my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, everyone, I am back for a midday check-in. So it's just about 6:15. So I've had it on for roughly about 6 hours, and I don't really like this foundation. Immediately, I noticed that my pores are enlarged with this. Like, it exaggerates every pore I have on my face, which I don't love that. And I don't love the way it looks on my face, you guys. This is definitely not my favorite matte foundation. So this is a healing breakout that I've had that's starting to heal, but I still have a little bit of that dryness around it. This foundation just like clings to it. If I had to rate it right now on a scale from 1 to 5, I would give it like a 2. I just don't feel like this is a good foundation. I feel like it makes me age, and I just don't like it. So far, you guys, I'm not a big fan of this one. And I'm kind of glad that I'm only wearing this for 1 day, because if I was testing this for several days like I typically do when I'm doing a foundation review, I would be bummed out. I really would, because this is just, it's not that good, you guys. It's just not. It looks pretty decent on my forehead. It's just everywhere else. So as you start coming around here, I mean, it just looks really patchy, and it's creasing right around here. I mean, my nose looks bad. I mean, this is kind of how I look after wearing a foundation for 12 hours, not 6. As you can see, it just doesn't look good around my wrinkles. Right here is that dry patch, you know, from a breakout, and it just clings to that. Now, I'm only wearing minimal makeup today, only because I'm just kind of hanging around the house. But I do not like the way my skin looks right now. I don't feel like it's refreshed. I don't feel like it looks healthy. I feel like this foundation just really ages me, like right here in my pores area. And I don't really have an issue with enlarged pores. That's not my issue. I have a lot of other issues, but enlarged pores is not one of them. So that's it for this midday check-in. I will come back later on this evening to give you guys my full final thoughts, but so far, this is not good. Okay, you guys, so I am back, and if you guys hear a lot of noise, it's Sunday night, tomorrow is no school, so I have a ton of teenagers at my house. They're all upstairs, which is right above me. My husband's in the theater right next to me, so it's pretty loud around me. So I apologize if you can hear a lot of outside interference. Even though it is 12:30 at night, it's a party at my house right now. So it is 12:30, everybody's having a good time. So fortunately, I've been able to wear this for 12 hours, and I hate this foundation. Oh my gosh, I hate this foundation. I cannot wait to wash it off. I have never felt more old, and like every wrinkle exaggerated, every pore, every texture, everything I don't want on my face to show up has arrived with this foundation, and I don't like it. So for those of you guys who have completely canceled Tarte and you're just like over the whole situation, you're not missing much with this new launch, because in my opinion, I'm taking this back like tomorrow, because I don't think I'll ever wear it again. It looks horrific. I mean, I have lost so much coverage. When I filmed the intro, I was about an hour in after first applying it, and I felt like it still looked pretty good. But I would say right around the 3-hour mark is when I started to see this change, and it has just completely went downhill fast. I've lost all coverage here, which again happens after wearing it for 12 hours. Totally okay with that, but I lost it after wearing it for 6, and I'm not okay with that. I at least expect to keep coverage for 8 hours, and if I'm not going to maintain 8 hours worth of coverage, it's kind of pointless for me to even wear it, because I have foundations in my collection that give me coverage for longer. I mean, I have foundations that will give me coverage for 12 hours and up, so I just don't like this, you guys. I don't like it, and yes, I think it was good that Tarte is learning from their mistake last year. I think it's great that they brought out 50 Shades. Can you hear the teenagers upstairs? They're loud. So with all that said, if I had to rate this foundation on a scale from 1 to 5, I'm giving it a 1. I'm giving it a 1. It's not good, you guys. I'm going to pull you guys closer so you can see. I'll probably turn the beauty light, like the ring light, off, because I think the ring light is actually making it look better than it looks. If you have texture, if you have pores, if you have this kind of situation going on, you're not going to like this. And the thing that kind of is weird to me is that these influencers, I've only watched 3 videos of influencers who received this in PR. All 3 really liked this foundation. And I'm like, wow, they must have great skin is all I can say, because I feel like that's the only person that's going to be able to make this foundation work, is somebody that doesn't have enlarged pores, doesn't have texture, doesn't have wrinkles, doesn't have, you know, this whole like blemish healing situation going on. Like, you're going to need really good skin to wear this. If you have any of the things that I just mentioned, you're not going to want to work with this foundation. Even though it's a matte foundation, somebody with combo and oily skin, I don't know that you're going to like this, because it's hydrating, and I feel like I'm pretty dewy. I don't feel like this is a super matte foundation. I don't feel like this is going to control oils. I just feel like it's a mess. Like, you guys, I don't like this foundation. I'm so glad I'm only wearing it for 1 day. Oh, I cannot tell you how happy I am that I don't have to wear this more than 1 day. Okay, so this is with the beauty light on, with the ring light on. So as you can see, it's just really patchy, and it's kind of really attached to that. Do you see how much it exaggerates all my pores? As you see my forehead, oh, it just doesn't look good, you guys. I do not like this foundation. I mean, look at my chin. It's awful. All right, so let's turn off the ring light. So I turned off the ring light, but I have the 2 beauty lights that are kind of farther back. You can see how it's like really built up right here. Do you see that? Like, it's really patchy. Let me get my mirror. It's like really patchy through here, and it just doesn't look good, you guys. Like, this does not look good. I mean, look at this. I mean, look at it around my nose. It's just a crusty mess. I mean, look at it on this side. It's terrible. And I have purposely not touched my face today, because when I seen this foundation start to go bad and go downhill, I tried so hard not to touch my face because I didn't want to make it worse. I mean, look at it around my brows. Look at that crazy crusty mess. This is a mess. Plus I'm oily. That's why I'm saying I don't think even somebody with combination or oily skin is going to be able to wear this. Like, they say it's a new and improved foundation, but look at this up here. Can you see those like splotches of it? Just, it's patchy. So personally, I don't recommend this for anyone with oily skin, with combination skin, the only person that I feel like this would work for is somebody who has normal skin with fantastic pores, no wrinkles, and no texture. Somebody who has bomb skin would probably like this. That's about it. It's definitely not mature skin friendly. And I'm so over it. Like, I'm over it. I'm so glad I'm not testing that out for more than one day. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys again for all the love that you guys show me and my channel. It means absolutely the world to me, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day filled with love and happiness. I will see you guys right back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I love you guys so much. Bye!